Welcome back to Hockey Talks. I'm Carl. It's Dave here. Thanks again for joining us. We got a few things to go over today. Starting off with Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins. They have a dispute between the two of them. It's going back and forth a lot. So, one side, the Boston Bruins, claim they offered a $6 million contract to Jeremy Swayman. Jeremy Swayman's agent says that is absolutely not the case. They haven't heard anything back from him yet. So the two sides are going back and forth, and nothing is getting done.
So do you think that the offer was actually made?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Like, who do you believe? You know, was it sent off into an email and just lost in the abyss? Or what exactly is going on here? Is this some kind of tactic?
Maybe it is. But he came out. The Bruins general manager came out and said that there were 6 million reasons why Swayman should sign, and he should play, actually. But yeah, I don't know.
That's a pretty long list.
It's a pretty long list.
How come if they're offering them $6 million, they don't just do it again then? You know, if they
just tell them.
Yeah,
just tell them.
It's we'll do it for $6 million.
Say anything, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
So that makes me think that they didn't actually make the offer for $6 million. But then why would they say they did? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, if they actually did make the offer, then I would think that's a very good raise.
Do you think they're trying to hold off for something?
I don't know. What were they holding off for?
I don't know, like another player? Like if they could get something else or something? I don't know.
They got rid of Linus Ullmark, right?
Yeah.
They traded him to Ottawa.
Yeah.
They were determined to make Jeremy Swayman the number one goalie, right? Going into it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this is going on like this, maybe he wants way too much money.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be. If he's throwing in an offer, but you never hear what it is, right? And then they came out saying they offered him $6 million, but they said they didn't offer him $6 million. I think $6 million is a pretty good offer for Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah, I would say
starting gig.
But all in the background though, like, what do you think about Swayman? What do you think he's thinking when they just won't make him another offer for it or whatever it is? You can't make him feel very important or special, right?
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you're supposed to be the number one starting goalie.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're thinking. Just find a way to get him signed because that has been your plan going into this, right? So, I don't know. It's an ongoing dispute between those two.
Well, a good percentage of it could be the money, you know?
Yeah.
They just need to make a little more money and, I don't know, maybe things like alcohol sales.
Yeah.
So, I have a question for you. What franchise in the NHL has the most amount per ticket or per person in alcohol sales per game? There's a list here of the top 6. I want you to try to get some of those names.
Well, let's start.
Play along at home if you're watching.
Let's start off with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The amount of headache and rough going,
yes,
and all that stuff that they've been through. It's got to be Toronto.
They're on the list, and I'll tell you, they are number 1.
They are number 1.
3.9 drinks per person.
Yeah, well, I mean,
3.9. And I don't know if you know how much these things go for. They're probably $15 a pop, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like about $60 a person.
Yeah, I've never actually watched a game there, but I couldn't imagine that they would be very cheap.
Yeah, I didn't do this for every team because it got, disappointing for the American teams how cheap your alcohol is. But Toronto, the average spend would be $58.50.
$58.50
on alcohol per seat. Yeah. So what's another team that you guess is?
If I were to guess, the next team would be probably another Canadian team. The Montreal Canadiens.
I think you'd be surprised. No,
not
Montreal. I'll give you number 2. Number 2 is Chicago. Which makes sense.
I guess so.
At 3.8. So they're a little bit under Toronto.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can get one of the next 4.
Well, I mean, probably the San Jose Sharks.
No. The next one. What? They take after Obi. What?
Oh, Washington?
Or kind of Tampa Bay, I guess.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're partiers there, so they always go there.
Oh, I should take after Ovi.
Yeah. So I just remember him drinking out of the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Tampa Bay. Okay, yeah. Well, they won it like twice in a row.
Yeah, so that's got it.
There's a lot of partying in there.
Yeah.
Mind you, those are the players, but the fans enjoyed too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they enjoyed as well.
You have to.
Yeah.
The next one?
The next one, Florida?
Almost. Colorado.
Colorado.
You're going to say that one.
What was I going to say? Colorado, eh?
Yeah. That one doesn't surprise you. Okay, now what's one more?
One more. Oh, boy. Let's go with Carolina? No.
Arizona.
Okay, there we go.
Which is now...
Utah.
Yes. So that's the benefit when you only have 5,000 seats that you gotta get people in.
Everybody there is just hammering
plowed. All right, and the last one, number 6.
Oh, there's one more. Okay.
Yeah. I had to squeeze these guys in.
Yeah, had to squeeze them in.
I'll give you a hint, they're a Canadian team.
Oh, okay, they are.
And they almost won the Stanley Cup.
Edmonton Oilers.
They're the Edmonton
Oilers. Okay.
Yeah, and they're at 3.5.
Well, I know the beer's expensive there.
Yeah.
It is not cheap. But that's a...
Now imagine buying 3.5 of those.
3.5 of those per game, per person. Per person, not per person.
That can get pretty expensive.
That would be very expensive.
Yeah.
And they would make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Out of it.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
Yeah, but speaking of the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid, if anybody has watched the preview for that new document series that Amazon is putting out,
he needs to get his mouth washed.
Never seen that side of Connor before.
I have not.
Never, ever.
I've viewed it through a different light.
Yeah, this document series that's coming out, I'm very, very intrigued. I would love to watch it. The first one actually comes out at midnight Friday. So it'd be very interesting to see what all goes down there and what they all caught.
Yeah.
The raw emotions of all the players and stuff. But if you've seen that and listened to the speech that McDavid gave in, I do believe it's game 6?
Game 2.
Oh,
after the game 2 loss.
It was after the game 2 loss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was game 2. Yeah. He was talking and cursing and saying, like, we got to win a home game. You got to dig in.
Yeah.
And obviously, a
few other choice words in there.
Yes.
But that he was, you'd never seen him go all out like that before. Like, it made you think, like, I had questions before when we became captain, right? What kind of captain he was. And, like, sure, he's a fantastic player on the ice. But, I mean, as leadership role, he just seems such a quiet to himself kind of guy. And seeing that kind of changed the tone a little bit of what kind of a leader, what kind of guy he is really in the behind closed doors, right? There's a completely different side to these guys you probably don't even know. This document, the docuseries, it's going to highlight a lot of that kind of stuff, right?
I imagine. I feel like what they're going for is kind of that Michael Jordan thing that came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
It would have been better if Edmonton would have won the cup, but they didn't, so now they have to make something out of it. Yeah. But no, they'll probably get still quite a bit of views.
Yeah, but, I'm intrigued.
It makes you, if you haven't seen that yet, though, definitely look it up. Because it makes you see McDavid through a different light,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it's fun stuff. It's good to see him behind the scenes playing playoffs and all that.
Yeah.
But you gotta wonder with the amount of intensity they play in the playoffs. Do you think they play the same in like the regular season games or anything like that?
I don't know. Regular season games. Oh yeah. Well, to a point. Especially
you think he goes in the locker room cursing everybody?
I don't know if it's that drastic. Coming to Stanley Cup final, I think it's going to be a lot more into it, a lot more emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he is like that all the time. I don't know. I doubt it, but I mean, you never know. I didn't even think he was going to be like that in the playoffs. You never see it from obviously outside, right? He contains it pretty well, but yeah, there he was. But I don't know. Regular season games, I think maybe tone it down a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's interesting because I think he's one of those guys that likes to really dig in and get himself warmed up before the season even starts.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, season even starts. Yeah, he was complaining that he wants to play. I don't know if he's complaining, but he wants to play more preseason games than he's been allowed to. Right? He's asking to play more than maybe the 1 or 2 games he plays.
Let's just play all year. That's probably what he'd like to do.
Oh, he'd love to just keep going, right? That's what he thrives off. The more he plays, the better he is, right? Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think there's any question that he's probably going to make that team. I'm going to assume.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to get cut. He's pretty safe in that regard.
Yeah,
Where
for sure.
The preseason seems to be more for the guys who are really, really trying to push to make the team and to see who they can add to the roster. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, is 6 games too much?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think 6 games is too much. Knock it down half.
Why do you say that 6 games is too much?
I don't know. I think you don't need 6 preseason games. You want to get up, get warmed up. You want to figure out who's going to be on your lineup. I think 3 games is plenty enough time for that, right? I don't know. Let's just get the season going already. All this preseason stuff. And look at how many injuries and stuff like that have piled up.
Yeah.
Because they play so many preseason games. I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's a good chance, a good opportunity for people to get loosened up and everything. But there's something weird going on right now in the preseason where just a lot of people are like getting into fights. Like, what is even going on right now? Why are we doing this?
I have no
preseason is like fluff. It's fluff.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's warmed up. Make sure you don't roll your ankles when you're skating. And you see people fighting and hitting and injuring. And like soon you're going to see a Happy Gilmore where a guy's going to take off his skate and try to,
Yeah. Well, I mean, people go way too hard. We talked a little bit about this last episode about how they go way too hard in the preseason, right? I mean, for 6 games, it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Just too much. You go that hard, you're going to get injured, just like Patrick Laine got injured, right? Thankfully, he's only out 2 to 3 months.
2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months. That's still a long time, right?
From a preseason game.
From getting injured in a preseason game. Now, it wasn't his fault. It was not his fault. The guy stuck his leg out and hit his knee, right? So, but still, I mean...
But I don't know.
Once again, going too hard in the preseason, people take it way too seriously, and the results of that.
It's the perfect storm, though, too, because I think the teams that we're playing is Montreal and Ottawa. Right?
Yeah, Montreal and Ottawa.
And both those teams are trying to really... Like, we seen Ottawa play against Toronto the other night. They're not clean. They're definitely dirty, and they're trying to set... We talked about this last week. They're trying to set a tempo. They're trying to set a pace for the season. But it doesn't mean, going all out. Now you go and you have Ottawa against Montreal Canadiens, which are doing the same thing. Yeah. They're trying to set a pace for the season.
What was up with that game?
And now you just have people like going all out against each other in a preseason game because they're trying to set a tempo. And it's like, no, you guys are just all being... Yeah, you can't say the words I want to say.
What was up with that game, though? Because that felt like almost like a playoff game. Like, they were going hard at each other. Like, they were hitting each other, slashing each other. There were fights in a preseason game. Like, come on. It's a preseason game. Like, what is going on? Like, there's a couple of injuries. Like, Herbie Doc was injured. Tim Stützle actually got a high hit into his chin, right? And stuff like that. Like, why are we doing this in preseason? Like, why was it like that? It's just crazy to me. Like, why are you guys going like that? Like, it's a playoff game. It's preseason. Chill out.
And in my opinion, it's because, like we talked about last week, they're trying to set a tempo. And it's like, you know what? Call these people and, get them out of the game. Mm-hmm. No more preseason for you. Sorry. Yeah. It just, if you can't handle yourself out there on the ice and play a respectable game that doesn't even really matter for anything, what are you doing? I understand your franchises have problems and stuff, but to what end? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then you end up getting stars like Laine injured, you get stars like, Matthews injured, you get stars like Nylander out. Mm-hmm. It's just what's even going on anymore? Yeah, I don't know. It's the preseason thing. I think that's why I keep saying it should go down in games because we don't need that many games and that big of a chance of people getting hurt before the season. Yeah. Because
clearly people can't control themselves.
Or you elongate the preseason so that every game matters less. Even though it matters nothing.
Even though it matters nothing at all.
But I don't think there's a difference. Like, even if you have all these fights and these bad hits and stuff during a regular season game, it doesn't make it okay.
Yeah. No, it doesn't at all. No, I'm not saying that because it's a regular season game it makes it okay. But it's just, sure, go hard in the regular season because that's when it actually counts.
Yeah, at least it matters for something.
Matters.
At least you're playing the game.
Here, it all gets scratched when you start the NHL season, which is on October the 8th. But
yes.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But I want to jump to the IIHF. It's supposed to go into the Olympics on 2030. Sorry, NHL is supposed to be back in the Olympics then. IIHF has proposed a 3-on-3 hockey instead of a 5-on-5. What do you think of that?
I think I'd prefer a 1-on-1.
1-on-1.
Like, what are we doing? Why a 3-on-3?
Yeah.
If anything, you should be getting more guys on the ice, in my opinion. I don't know.
Like, especially like games that like full games, 3-on-3. Come on.
Yeah, that's just
playing
ridiculous.
pond hockey here. Like, let's get real. It's a 3-on-3 hockey. I mean, I already didn't like it when they put it to overtime. I already didn't like the 3-on-3. Okay, sometimes it could be exciting, but man, I don't know.
Why did that even happen in the first place? Just play overtime and 5-on-5.
They wanted to make it more exciting. They don't think it's
5-on-5
exciting.
overtime is very exciting. 4-on-4 overtime is very exciting.
Yeah, 5-on-5, I think
3-on-3.
More.
Next is going to be 2-on-2. Next year, you're not going to allow a goaltender. Then you'll just be flipping a coin. Like, come on, it's a sport. Let's play it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, let's play it. Nothing is 3-on-3.
Yeah, it's 3-on-3. Horse.
Crap. But those are our opinions. Please leave us your opinions. But as you can tell, we are maybe not the biggest fans of this 3-on-3 stuff. But that's how we feel, and we are not changing it. But
yet,
unless
you provide a good point, then I'll flop.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. See if this thing actually comes through or not. I hope it doesn't. I really, really hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But thanks again for watching. That is all the time we have for this evening. We hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful night.
Blah, 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 blah.